the first female Green Beret, an artillery piece with a 1,000-mile range, and a stabbing on a Navy sub. All in the briefing for the week of February 28, 2020. Let's get into it. A National Guard soldier is set to become the Army's first ever female Green Beret. The enlisted soldier is on the cusp of finishing the year-long qualification course and is expected to become a Special Forces engineer. But over in the Marine Corps, women in higher infantry positions have grown fewer. The Corps' first woman to pass the infantry officer course went on terminal leave last week, leaving just one potentially qualified female Marine infantry officer. The news came the same week that Marine Commandant General David Berger called for more female Marine officers to attempt the grueling course. Okay, back over to the Army. Is this an early look at the Army's proposed artillery piece that can shoot a shell 1,000 miles? Images this week surfaced online apparently showing a display about the rumored big gun. The pictures appeared on social media for a wing of the Army Futures Command and showed a mock-up of a design for the weapon. Officially known as the Strategic Strike Cannon Artillery, the cannon would apparently need an 8-soldier complement to fire it. All right, let's move on. According to the New York Times, an Iranian shipment of arms captured recently by American forces contained a new type of anti-aircraft missile. The weapons were headed for Houthi rebels in Yemen when sailors from the cruiser Normandy and destroyer Forrest Sherman intercepted them.
These interdictions fit a consistent historical pattern of vessels being used to transfer weapons to the Houthis in Yemen, and we assess that Iran is responsible for planning, organizing, and making these shipments.
The Times reported that among the seized weapons was a new type of missile that could avoid U.S. defensive measures. They were among a slew of arms captured by U.S. forces. Now, troops behaving badly. An Alaska-based airman was busted down this week for urinating in an office coffee maker. Little is known of how the infraction was committed. So let's roll the tape. Just kidding. But in other crime blotter news, a submarine cook was accused this week of stabbing a fellow submariner in a 2018 incident. The culinary specialist allegedly attacked a shipmate while aboard the submarine San Juan, though charge sheets didn't indicate a motive. Careful what you say about the meatloaf. In this week's Military Times reports, the coronavirus continues to have widespread impacts throughout the world, including the U.S. military. Healthcare reporter Patricia Keim has more on what the spread of the virus has meant for troops.
There have been a number of developments around the world this week regarding U.S. troops and the coronavirus. U.S. Forces Korea on Tuesday confirmed that the first U.S. service member has a case of the coronavirus.
Wanted to tell you the bad news we had this morning. We do have our first true USFK case. It's an active duty U.S. soldier who tested positive for corona.
A 23-year-old soldier in South Korea has been diagnosed with coronavirus. He remains in his off-base home where he will stay until he has recovered. The news follows on the heels of a dependent having been diagnosed with a confirmed case on Monday. Officials are investigating to determine whether either she or the soldier came in contact with anyone and may have infected others. Meanwhile, in Italy, where more than 300 cases of coronavirus have been confirmed, Italian officials are shutting down travel in and out of the affected regions, namely Lombardy and the Veneto, which also are home to nearby Aviano Air Base, along with U.S. Army Garrison Vicenza. A number of schools have been closed. The Department of Defense education activity out of precaution has closed schools, and a number of activities, including base theaters and gyms and other locations. In a recent hearing, Defense Secretary Mark Esper said that he has encouraged Northern Command to pursue planning for the coronavirus.
We've issued a variety of memorandums advising the force on how to deal with the coronavirus.
In addition, we also heard this week from President Donald Trump on the issue.
The risk to the American people remains very low. We have the greatest experts in the world, really in the world, right here.
This is a rapidly evolving story. And as we move forward, we're starting to hear more from communities that are affected by the coronavirus, especially those with military bases housing people who are quarantined. And we expect to see more concern out of those communities, as well as preparations among communities nationwide to ready for a possible spread.
And in our outgoing rounds this week, a Marine in Okinawa received the Corps' highest non-combat bravery medal after fighting ocean waves for nearly 1 hour to save a pregnant woman from drowning. Major William Easter was out for a PT run when he heard calls for help and ran into the breaking waves to save the woman. And keeping the Corps proud, a 62-year-old Marine vet recently broke the Guinness record for the world's longest plank. Illinois native George Hood held the plank position for more than 8 full hours before taking a rest, breaking the record by about 14 minutes. All right, that's all we have time for this week. Please check us out on Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps Times for the latest news, and give us a follow on our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter to keep up with the latest headlines. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.